All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a draft profile with the upcoming draft coming up. And the draft profiles are brought to you by New York Style Italian Sausage, often imitated, never equaled. They're a proud sponsor of our draft coverage, and check them out at NewYorkStyleSausage.com. It's a phenomenal product. Check it out. All right. The guy that we're talking about today is a day 3 steal, I think, for the 49ers potentially. It's Minnesota cornerback Terrell Smith. Terrell Smith, interesting player, University of Minnesota, 6 feet, 204 pounds. According to the Draft Network's Justin Mello, the 49ers met with Terrell Smith. He was an all Big Ten honorable mention. He was an academic all Big Ten player. Interesting guy. He's really he's a cornerback who, was an all Big Ten honorable mention player this year, and then ran 4.41 at the combine in Indy, a 1.50 10-yard split, which is really fast. And then he had gone to the East-West Shrine game, and they did some testing there, and they clocked him at 21.3 miles per hour. So this is a guy who runs really well. The Niners are just one of many teams that met with him. Miami, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Washington, Minnesota, Atlanta are the other teams that are looking at Terrell Smith. But great athlete. 10-foot broad jump, did 14 reps at 225 on the bench. In 2022, he had 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and really it was all due to improved technique. He plays, he prefers to play man-to-man coverage. He's a really good press man corner. He can also play off-man coverage. He's just a smart player. What I like about him is he's versatile. He can play the boundary corner. He can play the nickel corner. I think he can play safety. He can play several of the coverage units on special teams. He started for the University of Minnesota as a true freshman, but only made 14 starts in his sophomore and junior seasons. But that freshman year, he was voted by the coaches as Minnesota's most outstanding defensive freshman. And then 2021, 2022, he started 20 games and played well, 54 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, couple sacks, 3 picks, a forced fumble, and 10 pass breakups. He's a prospect who's from Snellville, Georgia. He went to South Gwinnett High School. He was a 3-star high school recruit. They call him Tea Time, Terrell Tea Time Smith. The only real weakness that I see in his game, he's got a little hip tightness, and it kind of shows in the short area routes. So he can get turned around by some excellent route running receivers, within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. He has a little bit of tightness in his hips. He's a willing run defender, but he's really only average in run support. You could argue that he lacks a little physicality, but this is a player who improved as his college career went on. He was given that extra year of eligibility due to COVID, and he did not disappoint as a senior. 13 starts, he made 38 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 picks. He had a forced fumble. What I like about this player, he's got size, he's got speed, he's got toughness, he's smart, he's got good feet, great length, and a very strong player. He's also scheme versatile. You can play him in a bunch of different schemes. He's going to be a day 3 pick. He doesn't have great ball production. If you look at his career at University of Minnesota, there's not tons of picks there that you're not seeing a ton of ball production. But man, he is a day 3 cornerback steal, in my opinion, because the size, the speed, the toughness, the versatility, the footwork, the technique. He stays nice and low in his back pedal. He's got tremendous length. He's a very strong player. He's a smart player. And, I think I'd much rather take a corner who has versatility and can play man coverage and can play press man, can play off man coverage, and then teach him the nuances of playing in a zone, than take a guy who's strictly a zone player and try to get him to play man-to-man. That's a hard thing to do. Some guys, if you're playing zone, you've played zone your whole career and you don't play a lot of man and you're not good at it, you're going to have a hard time transitioning to play man-to-man coverage in the NFL against bigger, stronger, faster, more sudden receivers. But if you have good experience playing press man, jamming guys at the line, playing off man coverage, I think you can transition to being a good zone corner. So I like this player a lot. Senior year, he allowed a completion percentage of only 58.5%. Quarterbacks had a really low QB rating when targeting him his senior year, and he just really came of age. And then he showed up in Indy, and he wowed them. He showed up in St. Petersburg at the East-West Shrine practices and was very, very impressive. And if you watch him, I actually think that, when you see that 4.41 in Indy, he actually runs faster than that. I think he kind of plays faster than 4.41. I would say he plays like a 4.35, 4.39, something like that. He's a sub 4.4 speedster when you watch him on film. And then he's got great quickness. A 1.50 10-yard split shows great quickness. And he's doing it at good size. And we're not talking about a 5'10", 175-pound corner. We're talking about a guy who's, close to 6'1", close to 210 pounds. He's probably going to play at about 6 feet, 6'1", 210 in that range. And I think he's a guy who's going to be looked over because he doesn't have great ball production. He had a couple quiet years. He kind of announced his presence as a freshman, had a bang-up year. And then when Minnesota got better under PJ Fleck and they brought in some better players, he didn't play a lot in that second and third year. But, man, he rebounded his senior year. Then he goes to the Shrine practices and really looked good there. Played well that week, looked good against top receivers. And then he went to Indy and he kind of showed that he's a top-tier athlete. 1.50 on the 10-yard split's a great number. 4.41 is a really good number. 10-foot broad jump is a solid number. 14 reps of 225 is, a very solid representative number as well. So I like this player, Terrell Smith, Terrell T-Time Smith. And I, as far as where can the Niners get him, the Niners have a bunch of picks on day 3 of the draft. This is a day 3 pick. This is a day 3 corner. I would say you're probably going to find him in the 6th round is about where I'd say if you really loved him, maybe you'd take him in the 5th round. But Terrell T-Time Smith, remember that name on draft day. Minnesota corner, really good player, really solid prospect. I think a day 3 cornerback steal. And for a team like the 49ers, who's lost Emmanuel Mosley, lost Jimmy Ward, needs more depth on the corner, they're going to have a number of day 3 picks, and they're going to be staring right at a guy like Terrell Smith. And I think they could do a lot worse than grabbing this guy in the 5th or 6th round. I think he'll be an absolute steal. I think he'll make the team. I think he'll have a nice little NFL career. So remember that name, Terrell T-Time Smith. All right, that does it for our New York style sausage draft preview. Often imitated, never equaled New York style Italian sausage. Make sure you check them out on their website, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. And of course, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being a proud title sponsor of the Krueg Show. And we'll have more draft coverage right up to the draft and right up until training camp right here on the Krueg Show on YouTube.